Black people came to this country after being abducted, kidnapped, and trafficked across the Atlantic Ocean in horrific conditions of confinement. The arrival of chained Africans in 1619 was followed by 2.5 centuries of bondage, violence, degradation, and abusive enslavement. White enslavers created false myths about Black people to justify slavery. Black people were defined as less human, less evolved, less capable, and less worthy of respect. Despite these false ideas of racial difference, enslaved Black people cultivated strategies for survival, fought for freedom, and held on to their dignity and humanity despite the hardships and suffering. When emancipation finally came in 1865, formerly enslaved Black Americans could have sought revenge and retribution against those who had abused them. Instead, most committed themselves to peace, to community, to citizenship, and to a new America. Many Black survivors of slavery were so committed to family that they spent their last resources to find their children, siblings, spouses, and loved ones who had been sold away. By 1867, 80% of Black men had registered to vote. Many ran for office and accepted leadership positions in their community. Education became a priority in the Black community, and Black schools created a generation of skilled citizens who could help the nation grow. But many white leaders were violently resistant to these aspirations for racial equality and citizenship. White mobs attacked Black people and used lynching, violence, and racial terror to prevent Black progress. Congress abandoned Reconstruction in 1877, and the United States Supreme Court sided with former Confederates and white Southerners who declared states' rights to disenfranchise Black people, restore racial hierarchy, and subordinate Black communities. As former New York Governor Horatio Seymour announced, "This is a white man's country, let white men rule." For a century, racial terror lynchings, racist laws, and Jim Crow practices oppressed Black people. When millions fled violence and abuse in the South and moved to the North and West, they faced less risk of mob violence, but continued to see discrimination and bigotry. A heroic civil rights movement emerged in the 1950s and 1960s, led by courageous Black people committed to community and nonviolence. These extraordinary people were beaten and battered. Some were killed, but they dismantled legal apartheid, racial segregation, and legally sanctioned racial hierarchy. While much progress was made, racial discrimination continued, and Black people remained burdened by a destructive presumption of guilt and dangerousness. A new era of mass incarceration emerged. More prisons, more police, and more punishment shaped the end of the 20th century. Today, the United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. Racial bias is pervasive in the criminal legal system, and the government has projected that 1 in 3 Black male babies born is expected to spend time in jail or prison. Long-standing barriers to economic progress, healthcare, and stable housing have been exacerbated by an epidemic of police violence against unarmed Black people whose quality of life is measurably disadvantaged and distinct from other Americans. The legacy of slavery and racial injustice still creates barriers to just treatment for some, fosters inequality, and fuels racial animus and bigotry. EJI believes a new era of truth and justice is required that compels our nation to reckon with our history. We believe that truth can set us free and lead to healing, redemption, recovery, and repair. The Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice are dedicated to these goals. These institutions have a purpose: Our hope, our vision, is that the children of our children will live in a nation unburdened by the legacy of slavery, free from racial bigotry and injustice. We hope you'll visit us and join the effort to promote truth and justice in America.